Mark chapter 10, verses 46 to 52. They came to Jericho. As he and his disciples and a large crowd were leaving Jericho, Bartimaeus, a blind beggar, was sitting by the roadside. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout out and say, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." Many sternly ordered him to be quiet, but he cried out even more loudly, "David, Son of David, have mercy on me." Jesus stood still and said, "Call him here." And they called the blind man, saying to him, "Take heart, get up, he is calling you." So throwing off his cloak, he sprang up and came to Jesus. Then Jesus said to him, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man said to him, "My teacher, let me see again." Jesus said to him, "Go, your faith has made you well." Immediately he regained his sight and followed him on the way.
"Come," he said, and I did. Followed his voice through the crowd on the edge of town. I needed wait no longer. My voice had been heard calling for change, crying out for a fresh start, even though it meant casting off old ways, no longer the person everyone knew. "Come," he said. He never said, "Follow me," but as I could see, there was no other way. How does one ignore that call? Even though Jesus' message must have unsettled the fishermen, even though they did not necessarily understand all of the reasons why, they were willing to leave everything behind. They were willing to trust and follow, to answer this call placed on their lives. Can you imagine how strong that call was? That they were willing to leave everything behind, homes and loved ones, to follow Jesus, to spread the word, to fish for people? Would I have been willing to leave everything behind 5 years ago when I felt God nudging me into ministry? Would you? But then again, do we not leave everything behind? The old is made new when we do decide to follow? Jesus called his disciples all ordinary men, people it seems with few discernible gifts for ministry. Yet, they were remarkably human, as we are. Ordinary people equipped to do extraordinary things. Here we are, 4 ordinary people who answered that call to follow, because following was the only thing that made sense. We all heard that call in different ways. For some, it came in the quiet of prayer. For others, a whisper of thought, the nudging of a friend, a passion that flourished over the years. We heard that call and we followed to places we never dreamed. The places God sends us and what we're asked to do can frighten us. Believe me, I know firsthand what that feels like. The act of trusting in a healing and compassionate God and stepping out in faith is scary. Why would God want that? What is God thinking? I don't know how. It's not my gift. I'm too busy. I'm too old. What if I don't do it right? What if I fail? But I heard God saying, "What if you don't?" "Come," he said, and I did.
Reading Mark 10, verses 25 to 30. As he was setting out on a journey, a man ran up and knelt before him and asked him, "Good teacher, what must I do to inherit life?" Jesus said to him, "Why do you call me good? No one is good but God alone. You know the commandments. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. You shall not defraud. Honor your mother and father." He said to him, "Teacher, I have kept all these since my youth." Jesus, looking at him, loved him and said, "You lack one thing. Go, sell what you own, and give the money to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come and follow me." When he heard this, he was shocked and went away grieving, for he had many possessions.
"Follow me," he said, for I had asked him the next step on a journey of personal salvation. He reminded me of all the good things I already knew and did. So nothing was left to do. I was ready to go. "Now sell all you have," he said. "Give it away to the poor." How could I let go? Just like that, lighten the load, shed my responsibilities, become someone I did not know. What would be left? "Follow me," he said. Follow me is a sometimes difficult concept. It can mean many different things to many different people. Do we ever really know what it means to follow? 6 years ago, I was called to follow. I was ready and willing to answer that call, more than a bit apprehensive, but excited to start a new chapter in my life. However, looking back, did I really know what follow me meant? I don't think I did. I don't think I truly understood. I was naive for sure, and maybe that was a good thing. I just knew that there was some invisible force pulling me along, and it was something I had to do. So I embarked on a journey that would change my life forever. It was easy to start with, the making of plans and so forth, but then I heard Jesus say those words, "Now sell all you have, give it away, let everything go." This request was not so easy. Selling all you have, getting rid of, or letting go of everything you owned or have, or all that you held dear. Jesus may or may not have literally meant sell everything, but he did mean let go of the things that trap us in life. Let go of the things that most occupy your time. Lighten your load of burdens and unnecessary responsibilities. Letting go of is part of who we are called to be. By doing this, we then allow more time to be who we are called to be. The ally who walks with in solidarity, the friend who extends a hand, the person who speaks out for justice and equality. Jesus knew that to follow would not be easy, so he gave me companions along the way to journey with me, to lighten the load, to see me through whatever challenges I may have encountered along the way. And for these companions, I am so truly grateful. The journey has been made easier.
Reading from Mark 7:25 to 30. But after hearing of him, a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit immediately came and fell at his feet. Now the woman was a Gentile of the Syrophoenician race, and she kept asking him to cast the demon out of her daughter. And he was saying to her, "Let the little children be satisfied first, for it is not good to take children's bread and throw it to the dogs." But she answered and said to him, "Yes, Lord, but even the dogs under the table feed on the children's crumbs." And he said to her, "Because of this answer, go. The demon has gone out of your daughter." And going back to her home, she found the child lying on the bed, the demon having left.
"Go," he said. "Let the children be fed first. Why should the dogs eat their bread?" But I would not be turned away. hoping for healing, hungry for justice. I stood my guard, or I stood my ground, and argued, in God's household, even the dogs are fed. My ears stung from his words. Was this the Jesus I heard about? Had I got it all wrong? His rude response seemed out of character. What was he saying? I grew up in a different community than he, but hadn't he realized that I was in need? That although I am an outsider, I believe. Years ago, I sought a place of belonging, a place of acceptance, even when I didn't look like those gathered in the temple. I wore borrowed clothes for my baptism. I feared I wasn't adequate, but that didn't stop me. That didn't prevent me from feeling God's grace for those caring for me and my family. I believed God has no boundaries and love no barriers. Jesus must have seen or heard or noticed my bold determination while I challenged him to see my worthiness, and I am loved by God. He must have heard me. He reconsidered, and he told me to go home, and there I would find my daughter healed. And so I went. Go, he said, and I did. And then I realized I have an important job to do. For those not bold, those who fear their voice will not be heard or taken seriously, I am to accompany them. I will carry them when they lose their courage, and be carried by them when I lose my way. Go, he said, and I did.
We're reading from Mark 2, 13 to 17. Jesus went out again beside the sea, and the whole crowd gathered around him, and he taught them. As he was walking along, he saw Levi, son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax booth, and he said to him, "Follow me." And he got up and followed him. And as he sat at dinner in Levi's house, many tax collectors and sinners were also sitting with Jesus and his disciples, for there were many who followed him. When the scribes of the Pharisees saw that he was eating with sinners and tax collectors, they said to his disciples, "Why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners?" When Jesus heard this, he said to them, "Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. I have come to call not the righteous, but sinners."
Follow me, he said, and I did. Tax collecting never made me popular, but it was a roof over my head and bread on my table. Bittersweet bread because it was grabbed and grudged. He invited me to become no longer the dog in the manger, but the host at the feast. He came right under my roof, sharing my bread and showing me how to share all the rest. Follow me, he said, and I did. In 1978, Michael H. Hart, an astrophysicist and historian, published a somewhat controversial book called The 100, a ranking of the most influential persons in history. Not surprisingly, Jesus Christ made the list. Hart caused some commotion among Christian readers, however, by ranking Jesus third, behind Muhammad and Sir Isaac Newton. Hart acknowledged that Jesus' teachings were, and I quote, "surely among the most remarkable and original ideas ever presented." But he continued, "If they were widely followed, I would have no hesitation in placing Jesus first in this book." In Hart's opinion, Jesus' influence on the world has been considerably diminished by those who claim to follow him but do not abide by his teachings. So what does it mean for one to follow Jesus? Through my time at the Center for Christian Studies, I have come to understand what following Jesus means for me. But what of all of you? I asked friends and colleagues and mentors and classmates, and here are just a few of their responses. Mark's depiction of Jesus is a very human Jesus. He eats, he hangs out with people. This humanness, his own and ours, is reflected in his teachings in the gospel. Another one said, "Follow me," feels very much a command to do faith rather than to just talk about faith. Another said, "Following Jesus means that Jesus is there, beside, in front of me, no matter where I am. He comes and he finds me, no matter how dark and dangerous the place is that I am in. I can trust in him to lead me out of difficult times and places." Another said, "Jesus doesn't need me to be perfect. He, in fact, needs me to model brokenness and vulnerability to show others that we're all human." Another said, "Jesus is calling me to just get over myself and see the larger picture of the needs of others." One said, "Jesus' call to follow him is about standing up to injustice, speaking out for those without voices, treating the earth and God's people with respect, and being kind and generous in all ways." Another said, "When I read, 'Follow me,' I hear, 'Be with me exactly as you are. I love you.'" And finally, "It's too bad Jesus didn't mean, 'Follow me, I know a shortcut.' It's more like, 'Follow me. It's a tricky path, but the view will be worth it. Trust in me.'" For myself, in this passage, I see the importance of Jesus' invitation to follow him being without qualification. I hear it as an invitation for the broken and the imperfect to come and experience a relationship with the person of Jesus. I hear it as an expression of Jesus' desire to be near to us. With that relationship and experience comes a change of being and a desire to emanate the goodness and the actions of love that Jesus exhibited. But follow me isn't just moral goodness. I think it's a call to awareness of the presence of God in our midst, and through the experience of the risen Christ, we are changed. The question is, will we open our minds and hearts to Jesus? Will we invite him into our lives? Will we choose to follow him? Or will we walk away from him? Jesus gives us a choice to answer his call or to walk away. What will you choose? We choose to follow Jesus into the world, right to the margins and beyond. With God's presence and the example of Jesus' ministry, we seek to accomplish this with humility, grace, and a sense of humor. May it be so.